We're driving a Ford Lightning. That's the fully electric version of the F-150. Coming up, we're going to tell you why the Lightning is the best F-150 you can buy. And also, why the thing I just said is a lie. But first, information explosion. The Ford F-150 Lightning that we're driving is actually a 2022 model. It's the only one that they had available in the press fleet, but the 2023 is essentially identical. So if we're talking about anything in here, numbers, whether it be price or power or range, we're referring to the 2023. Let's begin with interior.
This is one of those interiors where the first thing that strikes you isn't how stylish it is, but it is so practical. In the door, we have a space for my phone, another space for my phone, drink holders. 2 glove compartments, big center console space, tons of legroom, tons of headroom. All Lightnings come with a crew cab, and I could sit in the middle position with a booster seat on either side and still be really comfortable width-wise. No fooling, it's a full-size pickup truck. Great foot space if you're sitting in the middle position, but also if you flip the rear seat bottoms up, a very functional space where you can load up the inside of the vehicle. And then there's an optional lockable storage box that folds out from beneath the seats. For us, like, we've got camera gear. It's a really great place to stow that. And then up here, we've got this workspace, the gear selector, motors down, and then the center console, there's this big flat area. I got a buddy who's a contractor. Hi, Brian. And he works out of his vehicle, and having this big open space where you can, like, I don't know, actually I don't know what contractors do. I'm just gonna say, like, look at documents. Is that what a contractor does? By the way, this interior work surface comes on the XLT trim and higher. Moving to the bed, you've got the step, which Ford is known for, a couple of tie-down areas, just a super functional space. But what makes the Lightning so special is the Mega Power Frunk. And no, I'm not being pretty with my words. That's actually what it's called. Because this is an EV, there's no engine, and so they've cleared that whole space out there. So there are 14.1 cubic feet of space just hidden under the hood. That's like a compact car's trunk size. It's completely secure. You can put 400 pounds in there. There's a flippable floor underneath that space. There's enough room for your charger and a bunch of other things. Above that floor, a lot of space to work with. How much space? We brought a microwave with us, and we brought the world's largest unicorn stuffy. There are 4 120-volt outlets up there, plus a USB-A and USB-C port. This one has the optional 9.6 kilowatt Pro Power onboard upgrade, which means it, can put out more power. But pro tip, if you want to use a microwave, don't use the front outlets, use the outlets in the bed. But confirmed, if you want to just heat your ramen, bring the microwave with you. Bring a margarita machine, bring a bounce house. I've got an e-bike that could charge up on this thing. There are so many ways to use the frunk. I hadn't even anticipated using it as a sitting area, but like if you go to like your kid's sporting game, shows you how not sporty I am, you could sit in the frunk. The fact that you could use it as a cooler, I really like the front.
The bottom is waterproof, and you can just load it up with ice and just put your beverages in there, and then when you're done, just let it melt, and there's a drain at the bottom. And if you have something heavy up there, you can secure it in place with 4 heavy-duty tie-downs in each of the corners. Oh, and then the floor, you can flip it up and you can create a cargo divider. Okay, I will stop gushing about the frunk situation. Sweetie, tell me, how did you find getting the booster seat installed?
This was one of the easiest installs I've had in a long time. The door opens super wide. The latch points are exposed and in a position that's very easy to attach the seat, and there would definitely be room for a rear-facing child seat.
Absolutely. And then kiddo, how is it getting in and out of the Ford Lightning?
Getting in is easy, but getting out is kind of hard because when your feet are wet, it's slippery.
Oh yeah, and I think you mentioned that the step isn't as wide as you'd like. You'd love a little wider step. Was that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, easy to get in, but be careful getting out if it's slippery. As for safety, the Ford Lightning hasn't been tested by the NHTSA or IIHS specifically, but the F-150 has, and it's a 5-star overall vehicle from the NHTSA and a top safety pick from the IIHS. Also, standard come lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, blind spot warning. Family, what do we think? Is the Ford F-150
family friendly.
Family friendly.
I don't know if it could be any more family friendly. I'm gonna call it Mega Power family friendly. Rear window test. Whoa, all the way down.
Yes.
Armrest test. Driving in a comfortable 8 and 4, I like that the armrests are even height. I can access them without removing my hands from the steering wheel. And both the inboard and outboard are squishy. I'm gonna go 90% inboard, 80% outboard. Hey! Would you like to see more videos like this where we review cars as a family plus the occasional helicopter adventure? If so, you are welcome to subscribe. Style!
If you are looking for the functionality of an electric vehicle, but you don't care for like a futuristic design aesthetic, this is a solid choice because it still looks a lot like an F-150.
Truck buyers don't necessarily want crazy new designs. There is an audience for a traditional aesthetic.
I think the headlights and the taillights do look super cool.
And yet, if you squint, you'd be like, it's just an F-150.
Totally.
We like the overall look of the Ford Lightning, but what do you guys think? Do you like the styling of the Ford Lightning? If so, if no, tell us in the comment section. And speaking of style, do you like the shirt I'm wearing? If you do, it's made by Blipshift. Blipshift makes limited run automotive themed apparel, mostly shirts. If you've ever seen me in a video, there's a 99.9% chance I've been wearing a Blipshift shirt. And now they're a sponsor. That was a huge bump.
Oh, man.
Dunk, dunk. If you'd appreciate some sweet automotive apparel and you want to support the channel, there's a link in the description below to Blipshift. New buyers of Blipshift can save 20% using the promo code Micah. Blipshift. Moving onward to In Motion. Hey, you remember a minute ago when we hit that super huge pothole?
I sure do.
That would have been so much more rough if we hadn't been driving the Ford Lightning. Oh no. A squirrel ran out and I think we went right over it. But if we had hit that squirrel, it would have been the smoothest time hitting a squirrel ever because we're driving the Ford Lightning. What makes the Lightning special is that to accommodate the battery, they had to get rid of the live rear axle. So when you're driving a pickup truck, normally you go over a bump and there's like a little bit of like after bump motion or like some jitteriness. You lose all of that here because you have an independent rear suspension that was installed to accommodate the battery. So consequently, it's the best riding F-150 that exists. Yes, I know the Raptor is very pillowy, but I'm gonna say the Lightning takes the win. At the same time, this generation F-150, I have noted, is extremely quiet. Guess what happens when you take the engine out of the equation? Even at high speed on the freeway, it's a very quiet interior. In high-speed cruise, I find the Lightning to be very, very stable, not having to make a ton of corrections, and also because you place the batteries, there's all that weight down there and it's very low. This thing handles better than you would expect. Go, go, go! Whew, missed another squirrel. It's squirrel season. I have one pedal mode activated, foot is off the accelerator, and let's see if it comes to a Micah-like smooth stop. That was really good.
Very smooth.
Also, if you prefer to drive with two pedals, you can turn one pedal drive mode off, and then using the brake pedal, even though it's an electric vehicle and there's a lot of regen happening there, I find the brake pedal very easy to use. Now, kiddo, do you want to do something fun in the F-150 Lightning? Are you sure? Are you the kind of kid who likes fun?
Yeah.
You are? Okay, well, here, let me find a place so we can have fun. Give me a countdown, will ya?
3, 2, 1.
Whee!
Whee!
Okay, so I got a and a wee. What did you guys experience there? Okay, sweetie, little kiddo felt fun. What did you experience?
An intense burst of speed and panic.
Okay, good. So we can activate panic or fun depending on your disposition. The acceleration in the Ford F-150 Lightning is outlandish. The 0 to 60 time is 4.5 for the extended range version. We're here closer to 5 if you're running the standard range. The Lightning is the quickest F-150 I've ever driven. That's just another reason why it's the best F-150 you can buy. And that power extends up into the speed range. In olden times, when you got into an EV, it'd be like strong off the start, and then it really loses steam at higher speeds, like say you're passing on the freeway. Not so with the F-150 Lightning. All right, before I have too much fun and ignite another panic in my sweetie, let's see what she thinks behind the wheel. Sweetie's at the wheel. Let's talk about getting into a driving position. I really like those pedals because it keeps you further away from the steering wheel because the pedals come out, and then you're not so close to that airbag, which means you won't be so injured in an accident. Tell me about visibility.
Over my right shoulder, it is fantastic. Over my left shoulder, there's a huge B pillar and I can't see.
Good thing blind spot warning comes standard. Okay, let's get moving.
Now that I've gotten used to it, I really like the one pedal drive mode. When I was first trying to slowly back in and out of our driveway, I had a lot of trouble with it.
If you're in one pedal drive mode, basically the neutral position is pressed somewhere in. And so if you come all the way off, you're braking. And then you're
Yes.
trying to go to the brake. So you're like kind of braking. It's very
Yes.
hard to do smoothly until you get used to how that works. How are you feeling steering this thing?
The steering feels great. It feels very accurate. It doesn't feel like I'm wielding as much F-150 as I am.
And now, not to push you to the limits of your comfort zone, but after you take a left here, push the accelerator harder than you have so far. Just push it and see what happens. That's good. Did you hear that chirp of the tires?
And my own chirp.
How did that feel?
That felt very swift.
Are you feeling comfortable though?
When I'm not being pushed beyond my comfort zone by the passenger, yes.
Okay, well if you're feeling good, I'm gonna get back in the driver's seat. Lastly, you actually can take the F-150 Lightning off-road. It comes with an electronic locking rear differential standard, so you can definitely venture out to the work side or if you want to do some trails. I don't know if I would necessarily take it in some gnarly off-roading, but certainly off-road capable. Moving onward to emotion factor. Sweetie, do you think there's an emotion factor here in the Ford F-150 Lightning? And before you answer,
Yes.
where do you think the emotion comes from?
Well, from the unique driving experience of an electrified truck.
Go on.
Yeah, that speed that you two seem to enjoy.
You can appreciate that someone might feel that way. You don't, but...
Yes. Also, it is so supremely practical. The frunk adds a huge element of
practicositude.
practicaliciousness that I think also adds some emotion when you just feel like your vehicle is serving you really well.
It's not just about needless futurism. It is better.
It is so much better.
It's so much better than if there was an engine up there. And yes, I recognize there are limitations to going EV, and we will talk about those. But last thing, we live in the mountains here where every once in a while the power goes out. Ford has a setup where you can actually power your house with your F-150 Lightning if the power goes out. And that's the kind of thing that would really come in handy. Think of it as just a battery backup for your house.
Wow.
That you can also drive. It's a really, really clever setup. Ford makes it easy, requires some special Oh no, that camera went out. If only we had a Ford F-150 Lightning to keep it going. The point being, the F-150 Lightning I think has a strong emotional component, but I don't know. What do you think? Are you feeling emotionally drawn to buy a Ford F-150 Lightning of your very own? If you are, you might need to sell your current car first. If you're curious what your current car is worth, or what you should spend on a Ford F-150 Lightning, hint, it's a lot, click the Kelley Blue Book pricing link in the description below. Remarks! Remark number one, if you're in the market for eyewear, whether it be sunglasses or glasses you wear throughout your day, consider Flying Eye sunglasses. They've been a great sponsor for our channel for a very long time. And if you'd like to help support us by supporting the people who support us, and boy, that's circular logic, consider clicking the link below to Flying Eyes. You can learn all about them, and if you want to buy them, you can save 10% using the promo code Micah. Look, you can bend them like that. Remark number two, infotainment.
I find the infotainment interface really simple to use. I wish the icons were color-coded because I feel like that helps me differentiate them, but it's very workable. Another issue I had is that I kept reaching for the wrong knob.
Go on.
The volume knob is down here, which is a very logical place for it, but there's also this much larger knob that's closer to the driver, but perhaps you're more,
Knob competent?
Yes.
If I use that phrase 2 more times, you have to make a graphic. Are you knob competent? Tell us in the comments. I also like that there's a place down here where you can anchor your thumb, though the screen is large enough that you can't actually reach it if you are anchored. It's a standard 12-inch screen, and then on higher trims, there's a 15.5-inch screen that's vertically oriented. What I also like about the screen is that it shows the camera setup while driving, but it makes sense because look, you can see in the bed. And if you're like, is the stuff that's in the bed still secure? Now I know it is. All right, now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Muzio family smell test. Our daughter does not like new car smell, and we do this because we know some people might agree with her. Child, Tell me, the Ford F-150 Lightning, and regarding its smell, do you think it's a good smell, bad smell, or just okay?
Bad, but unless you have Fruit Loops.
Yeah, so you can bring your Fruit Loops, or alternative thought, bring some ramen.
Yeah.
Yeah! And that's the Muzio family smell test. All right, let's talk about engine choices. Okay, there really aren't engine choices, there's 2 battery choices. For charging options, you can use a DC quick charger. The Lightning will charge at a 150 kilowatt rate. That means a 15 to 80% charge in a little less than 45 minutes. At the beginning of the video, I said that the F-150 Lightning is the best F-150 you can buy, and also that's a lie. Here's how that's a lie. If you want to tow. Max towing capacity with the F-150 is 14,000 pounds with a 3.5 liter EcoBoost. Then there's the Lightning, which maxes out at 10,000 pounds. So the Lightning can't tow as much as a gas-powered Ford F-150, and range is greatly reduced, up to half if you're towing with the trailer. Though I will mention that the F-150 can take into account the load it's towing and give you a fairly accurate representation of what your range will be. Sweetie,
Yes.
can I give you a trim recommendation?
Sure.
Our trim recommendation is which trim will give you the essential features you would regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. So the base Pro trim is cool, but we'd recommend spending an extra $7,500 to move to the XLT trim. The XLT adds a 360-degree camera system, running boards, it swaps out the Pro's vinyl seats for cloth seats, and it adds signature front lighting to really drive home the point that you're driving an EV. We'd also recommend the XLT High package, which adds a power tailgate, an upgraded 9.6 kilowatt Pro Power onboard setup that adds 2 more 120 volt outlets in the bed, plus a 240 volt outlet. It also adds full speed adaptive cruise control, a tailgate step, and smart key access, a feature I won't live without. Total asking price, $68,474. More importantly, the XLT opens up the option to add the extended range battery, which if you're doing truck stuff, you're gonna probably want. But it is expensive, that's an extra $12,500. We also need to hit on price. The base price increased by $16,000 since the Lightning launched. Even destination has jumped by 200 bucks. In fact, this exact same XLT Lightning truck costs an extra $8,000 in 2023 versus 2022. And if you're thinking the $7,500 federal tax credit will save me money, it can, but only on Lightnings with an MSRP lower than $80,000. So that means the Standard Range Pro trim and the Standard Range XLT. As for competitors, there's the Rivian R1T, which I like a lot. There's the GMC Hummer EV, though that is a pricier choice. And then coming in the 2024 model year, we'll have a Ram EV and a Chevy Silverado EV. And we are really excited to experience those vehicles for ourselves. And then last remark, even if you do like the Ford F-150 Lightning, you're not getting one anytime soon. Supply is very, very low. Demand is very, very high. Sorry. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comment section. Synopsis! In thinking about the essence of the Ford F-150 Lightning, it is an amazing product, but it can be pricey, and even if you have the money, you still won't be able to get your hands on it for years after it's launched. To me, it is the PlayStation 5 of full-size pickup trucks. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the Ford F-150 Lightning. May I have a 5 and a 5, and you! Come get your high five. Bam!